For Tuesday night, September 18th, 2018, you are checking out an all-new The RCWR Show. Lee Sanders here. What's up, everybody? Couple of minutes removed from SmackDown, we have the Season 2 premiere of WWE's Mixed Match Challenge that is underway right now. So those of you that are maybe checking it out and you're checking out the show live right now, feel free to pop your head in the chat, whether it's on Spreaker or on YouTube, and let us know about the results from tonight's season premiere of Mixed Match Challenge. I'll definitely be talking about Mixed Match Challenge and Wednesday night's Mae Young Classic tournament continuation. I'll be recording a little something for our Patreon members. So if you guys are not signed up for Patreon, do consider signing up for Patreon. Get access to exclusive bonus and audio content monthly, a whole bunch of stuff that comes at you monthly for just $5 a month. You can't beat that, as my grandmother used to say, and she would follow that up with an evil laugh. So you guys have been informed. But yes, I will be talking about the Mae Young Classic, and I will be talking about the Mixed Match Challenge first impressions so far. You know, I gotta admit, I really didn't watch that much of the first season, and I had heard so much praise about it, and I think I caught a little bit of the tail end of the tournament, but then after that it was kind of like, yeah, I'm not really interested. And I think mainly what gave it away for me was the stipulation that they had put out there that basically Asuka's undefeated streak was on the line. Like, even though she was in a tag match, basically, like, if she lost at any time, they basically would like look at that as an official loss or something like that. So when you heard that little silly stipulation or whatever, you're kind of going, it's kind of safe to say that she's gonna just go ahead and win this tournament, right? That's just the impression that you kind of had. So it kind of left a little bit of a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. Definitely had left a little bitter taste in my mouth, and I honestly just kind of tuned out after that. So, but a lot of people gave that a lot of praise, so I can't wait to see how this second season does. I hope you guys have been having a pretty solid week since last we were on the air with you guys. And you know, for those of you in the United States and you're a bit on the East Coast side, especially going a little bit further down south, I know that we've been having a bout with the hurricane that had passed through here, bringing in that nasty weather, nasty heavy rain, a lot of flooding that's going on. And you know, the first couple of days it had seemed to have been okay, but we've been hearing about the recent loss of lives that has come about, I would honestly have to say, within the past 72 hours. And I believe, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but last I had heard of the death toll, I would have to actually get a new update on everything that's been happening thus far by watching the news tonight. But when I watched the news, I want to say maybe Sunday night, potentially Monday. I'm leaning more towards Sunday night. I want to say the death toll had rose to 7 total. And I know there was a young black kid, I think maybe, I don't know, I'm speculating here, but I think he was somewhere between the ages of 5 to 11 that had lost his life. He was one of those 7, so you're kind of going, you know, that is so heartbreaking. So I really hope for those of you that have close friends, family members, loved ones, hopefully you were able to convince them, hey, this storm's looking really, really bad, insist you come on, stay with us for a little bit, at least until this storm passes, and we'll head on back down home together, and whatever type of rebuilding we need to do, we'll go on ahead and we'll do that. But hopefully you guys were able to do that. And if you were not able to do that, well, I just hope that wherever your loved ones are, that they're somewhere safe right now. But for a lot of areas, they are in a serious rebuilding process right now. And I mean, over here in the DMV, in particular, Ellicott City, I mean, they have been really having it bad within the past 2.5 going on 3 years. And if you look up the story of Ellicott City, they have been hit by severe flooding so many times. I mean, you have so many mom and pop businesses, establishments that have just been rocked to the core so many times. You know, they say, oh, this is our home. We don't know anything else but this. This is all that, like, we can continue to do. This is our life as we know it. We're just going to go on ahead and rebuild, and we'll be back. We'll be back stronger than before, you know, and it's great hearing that. But, like, my God, when you spend all that time, when you spend all those resources trying to rebuild, right, all those months, and then basically like not even a year goes past since you did all the renovations and all that, and then once again you get hit with another bout of a severe flood and all that, it's freaking ridiculous, right? And shout out to Lee Strack. What's up, Lee, in the chat? He says right now the tolls rise significantly. So I don't know if you guys can back me up, but like Sunday it was like 7. But Lee is saying, according to a new report here, Lee Strack, not to be confused with, you know, it's not Lee, it's not the freaking Megadeth video. Hello, me, meet the real me. No, Lee Strack in the chat, he's saying it's now up to 25 plus people. So, I mean, that's nowhere near Puerto Rico, but, you know, as far as I'm concerned, even if it's just one life, that's just too many. You know, the less to zero, the better, right? So, 25 deaths and counting, it looks like, you know. But, yeah, in Ellicott City, guys, a lot of mom and pop businesses, a lot of homeowners, they just were hit. I mean, just left and right, that a lot of them just said, you know what? Our government is failing us, and I'm not really liking what's going on here with Ellicott City. We were reassured that something like this would not be happening again. We were assured that we'd have all the resources available to make sure that we're protected from stuff like this. And a lot of people from Ellicott City, they just picked up and rolled out. I remember seeing a news report, I want to say earlier this year. It felt like it was around maybe right at the start of springtime. And there are some parts in Ellicott City that is just abandoned. You know, almost kind of reminds you of what went down there with New Orleans, you know, and you're like, wow, this is, you know, so wherever this storm is hit, I'll just be glad when it's all over and done with, seriously, because it's a serious Debbie Downer right now. It really, really is. And, you know, I just can't help but think about those that's further down south, because they're the ones that's really getting it bad. I mean, here in the DMV, originally we had got the reports that, okay, it looks like we're going to get some heavy rain. There's going to be some strong winds, and whatever we do, we want to make sure that we're not on the roads. But then as the hours had progressed, I mean, people were flying out here to the stores left and right. I mean, you couldn't even find water. I don't know if you guys had heard about that, but yeah, you couldn't even find water. Gallons, little packs, you couldn't find water, and like whoever was selling water, I mean, just picture that. You go to Walmart, for example, and you normally get a fucking 24 pack of Deer Park water. That's usually about maybe, $5, maybe $6. Sometimes you'll get it on sale for about $4.89, right? But like if the water was on sale in these parts, they wanted, some establishments, I bullshit you not, they wanted up to $40. Yes, $40 for water. I'm sorry, but like I've always had this old school feeling of, and just good old fashioned common sense, that in natural disasters, when you have crises like this hurricane, like you don't triple your prices. You don't. You make them be as affordable, and or if push comes to shove, if you can actually, if you're the store merchant, if you can actually write it off and just give this shit away, I mean, the more the better, because there's going to be some parts, many parts, that's going to be affected by this storm, so much so they're going to be without power for several days, okay? And in some instances, some places may not be with water. You know, so I just think it's always kind of jacked up when we see people that want to jack up the prices for, you know, water and bread, you know, the essentials, even toilet paper. And, you know, they're trying to charge 5 times the amount that it normally goes for on the shelf. I mean, that's freaking ridiculous, you know, freaking ridiculous. And I agree with Lee saying it's going to take weeks, but years. Yeah, without a doubt. The way it's been ripping through some of these parts so far, yeah, without a doubt, man, without a doubt. So we got a fun show planned for you guys tonight, man. A lot of fun topics. Couldn't wait to get into. You know, I want to begin by just kind of reminiscing a little bit on the Hell in a Cell after show one more time. And by the way, I do appreciate those of you that tried to wing it out on Sunday. I mean, my God, man, we were having some technical issues with the live web stream for YouTube. And I could not, for the love of me, get the shit rolling. And it was so infuriating. And we had a couple of people that was like, is the show even gonna? And what ended up happening, for those of you that may not have been aware, we ended up doing a show, but we didn't do a live web stream. Instead, we just went back to basics and we just did the live audio stream over on the Spreaker site, you know, because I always tell you guys, hey, we're streaming on YouTube, we're also streaming on Spreaker, and we're streaming via the RCWR Show app, available for free in the Google Play Store, in the Android store. Just search the RCWR Show. And so we ended up doing it that way, and pretty much once the show was over, I had went on ahead and I uploaded the audio stream to YouTube. So for those of you that maybe didn't catch what I had to say about Hell in a Cell, you know, after you get done checking out this show, I definitely would recommend you go on back, check it out. I said some pretty good stuff. I mean, show went about, by the time I got done editing the show, because the original live stream itself, I think it was about an hour and almost 30 minutes. But once the stream was over and I went into the editing, I pretty much cropped it down to like about an hour and 15 minutes, right? So pretty much you're in and out. But, you know, just kind of going back to Hell in a Cell one more time, you know, there was a couple of key story arcs that I was looking for to be not necessarily wrapped up, but there were a couple of questionable areas from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that made me wonder, okay, how is this going to be addressed on Monday's Raw? And sadly, once Raw was in the books, you're kind of left going, okay, you know what? I could try to justify how good I might have felt that the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view was, and I still stand behind it. I still feel that overall it was a decent pay-per-view. I mean, there was a lot of potential with that whole card. I mean, from top to bottom, from the pre-show all the way to the main event match. All right, the potential was definitely there, right? But like, you had some questionable errors. I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. With regards to Brock Lesnar just showing up like that, right? So you got Brock Lesnar showing up. He's still hell-bent. You know, he's still pissed off over the fact that, hey, I've yet to get my title shot. So you know what? I'm going to take my frustration out on the two people that, quite honestly, I hate the most right now, you know, which is Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. And it was cool, despite all the crap that Brock Lesnar has been getting from fans, podcasters over the years, let alone just the particular run that he had in the WWE where he was champion for X amount, yay long, right? It was like, okay, everybody was on the get the title off of Brock Lesnar. Frickin' A, get the title off of Brock Lesnar already. This sucks. We need a fighting champion. What the hell? And so the title gets taken off of him and everybody's like, whew, but like you're going, okay, well now it's on a guy that we can't stand, right? And, you know, well, I'm going to leave you guys alone. Me personally, I haven't gotten on board the I can't stand Roman Reigns yet. I'm not on that. I'm not. I've never said I hate Roman Reigns. I've never said I can't stand Roman Reigns. If anything, I'll give to you guys, yes, it does feel like the Roman Reigns character is forced down our throats. And I usually explain my opinion why, hey, looks like this is why he's being shoved down y'all's throats, right? But like, I hear you guys, and I do sympathize with you guys that are like, my God, it's the freaking Roman Reigns show. I'm so tired of this crap. I hear where you all are coming from, trust me, right? But like, for me, it was so, well, that's kind of funny, because I couldn't help but kind of have a little bit of a chuckle. You hear the Brock Lesnar music, and you see Brock Lesnar come out, And the fans in attendance, people on social media were excited because they're like, holy crap, it's Lesnar. What the hell? Oh, wow. So what? He's actually working with the WWE now? Like they worked out some type of deal? What the hell? You know, so you see him come in there. He lays the carnage. He rolls out and you're going, okay, well, I mean, that was a nice little spot and everything. That was nice seeing Lesnar kick the steel cage door in, you know, kind of like In Your House 1997 when Kane made his debut. Yeah, I mean, it was almost reminiscent of that. And you're going, man, you know, what Lesnar did there, that was badass. But then after it's all said and done, you're like, okay, well, yeah, that was, you know, whatever. But then to see the match in the way that it ended, right? Now, I will give you guys that. I am a sucker for controversy, okay? I am a sucker for controversy. But, and to Beyonce's Mega Man in the chat, yes, I am able to read all comments. So I love it when I get a kai for life, because I can just instantly kick a motherfucker out of the chat. But yes, I can't see what everybody is saying in there. What's up, Noah? That was a nice little spot. But, you know, to see the way that the Hell in a Cell match had ended for the championship, I'm not really feeling that. I'm not really feeling that. I am a sucker for give me a carrot, dangle a carrot over my head and make me want to check you out the next go round. Give me something I can look forward to want to see the next episode. Okay, what's the cliffhanger? Right? What's the cliffhanger? You know, but the way that ended, that was definitely questionable. What the fuck? Because, you know, you can try to justify that finish all you want, but if you just stop and really think about it a little bit more, it's a Hell in a Cell match, right? It's a Hell in a Cell match. And just stop and think about it for a second. It is a Hell in a Cell match. There ain't no countouts. There ain't no disqualifications. The only way you're going to be able to pick up a W is to get a freaking submission or a pinfall. Those are the only two ways you're going to be able to do it. So to see the finish where the referee is going, no, these guys, and keep in mind, and I said this on the show less than 24 hours ago, I said, and I quote, right, I was getting a little tired towards the end of the show there, so, you know, you got to forgive me, but there's like some valid points. It's like when you go off the air, you know, sometimes it's like, damn, I wish I would have said this, what the hell. But one thing that I did say on the show, and you guys can back me up that checked out the show last night, or Sunday night, I said, hey, at one point you had Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, it looked as though these guys were playing fucking tic-tac-toe for like 10, 15 freaking minutes because they're both laying on their stomachs or whatever, and you got Mick Foley looking up at the action above the steel cage structure because you got Ziggler and McIntyre fighting Ambrose and Rollins, and it's like, Foley, like, that doesn't matter right now, dude. They're outside of the steel cage. They're not messing with your two guys that's inside the steel cage with you in that ring. Like, focus on getting those two guys to their feet so the action can continue. Like, what the hell? Why is it that you got four guys on top of a steel cage structure and heaven and earth just stopped because you have to see what the hell they're doing? Like, no, unless it's an idiot in a freaking parachute that, you know, is parachuting their way down to the middle of the freaking ring, then you need to continue on with the freaking match, right? So to see the referee just call this match off, yell for the steel cage to be lifted open, and oh no, so for it to end the way that it was, the way it ended, the way it was booked, all that, yes, it leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. You know what I was looking for with regards to Monday Night Raw? What I was looking for was, okay, how are you going to clean this up? How are you going to clean up the finish to that match? How are you going to clean up Brock Lesnar coming in there and doing what he had did? Let's clean all of this up. How are we going to do that? Because one question you could put out there is wait a minute now. And see, this is where stupid booking 101 comes into play, right? The stupid booking comes in where you say, oh, well, wait a minute now. Baron Corbin, he's able to come out less than 24 hours later on Monday Night Raw, and he books himself in a main event match against Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship. Yeah, Championship, Universal, WWE title, right? Universal Championship. You're going, well, wait a minute, Baron, since you were able to book all of this stuff, right? Where were you less than 24 hours ago when the fuck finish went down with the Hell in a Cell match? Where were you exactly? Me particularly, and I didn't see anybody else go this route on social media. And it doesn't count if, oh yeah, I was thinking, if you don't put it out there on social media, it's kind of like, it don't really exist, right? But, and I didn't see anybody else bring this up. I've yet to hear anybody else bring this up. But it's, hey, Baron, where were you Sunday night? Where were you when it counted the most with the main event match? Were you on I don't know, were you on the phone talking to Stephanie McMahon? Were you maybe on the phone with a future talent acquisition that's going to be making their way up to Raw in the coming weeks or something? Like, dude, where were you exactly? You were MIA. What went down? That was not addressed on Monday's Raw. And then to further up the ante a bit, hey, what's the ramifications, if any, for what Brock Lesnar had did at Hell in a Cell? And for Baron Corbin to be in this position where all he's trying to do is please Stephanie McMahon and ultimately put himself in a position where he can be the permanent Raw general manager, you would have thought that Baron Corbin would have been able to just come on out there and say, hey, look, I don't appreciate a guy like Brock Lesnar interfering in my matches that I had made for a really good pay-per-view. This was my first outing, and I really wanted to make a really damn good impression for Stephanie, who appointed me this position, and make a good impression with the board of directors. Paul Heyman, I'm not going to have you or Brock Lesnar interfere in my matches like this with regards to your future shot at it. You know, instead, the dumbass booking is, oh, well, coming up in November, we'll go over the dates later because WWE has so many pay-per-views that's just ping, pew, 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 pew all over the freaking different continents right now. You're like, wait, what's happening? And then, wait, that's going where? And then, where's this one again? We'll cover all of that in a little bit because they just announced another pay-per-view. Believe it or not, that's going to be happening overseas. This one in Saudi Arabia. We'll get into all that in a little bit. But you're hearing all of this shit, and you're like, so wait a minute now. This is how you reward the behavior of Brock Lesnar for interfering in your match, right? Your match that you booked. You know, you made this pay-per-view. This is your baby, right? This is the first Baron Corbin as acting Raw general manager, right? This is your baby. You want to make the best impression humanly possible because first impressions mean everything. And yet you go in and when it counts the most, your Raw Championship basically, you get a fuck finish and you don't go out there and clean it up. You don't go out there to restart the match, nothing like that. And your whereabouts is not justified on Monday's Raw. But wait, the stupid booking 101 gets even worse. The stupid booking really kicks in with the main event match. So Baron Corbin has enough common sense. You see the finish to the Raw joint, right? You see that, and it's a situation where the way it ends, it's a count out. Baron's like, no, this is not what I wanted. This is not how it was supposed to go down. You know what? Damn, I just realized I'm the Raw General Manager. Okay, I can go on ahead and I can just restart this. It's going to be a no DQ now. Hey, it's a no DQ. Yeah, no. We're going to do this again. It's a no DQ. So it's like, okay, so Baron, you know, And I'm not, come on, we know it's the storyline, obviously, but doesn't, you see where I'm getting at, guys? Right? That's why it's a case of stupid booking 101, because it's like, wait a minute. So you can have this type of thought and creativity here, but when it counted the most, you didn't have this less than 24 hours ago. Like, what, you know, they tried, but with very little effort. With very little effort. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. And I want you guys to understand something. I know you have your shows where, you know, it's like, okay, you're going to listen to me talk. I mean, this is our show, and I wish I could just constantly look at what you guys are saying in the chat. But then, like, the way I do this show, I don't have a script. It's like whatever comes to my mind, like whatever I've been thinking about, I just pretty much shoot from the top of my brain, right? But the way we usually have the show set up, like, I'll skim the chat just briefly, but typically I kind of wait towards the end of the show and I kind of go over what some of you guys are saying. But like, unless I see something that's really like, okay, that's noteworthy, let me mention that, you know. But it's not me talking to you. Just pretend you and me are just having a couple of brews and we're just shooting the shit. I'm finding out how you've been and I'm telling you how things are at my end, right? But just, that's how we're doing. That's how we usually do the show here if you guys are new, right? It's really whatever comes to my mind and I'm just shooting from the hips. But what I saw Monday night just made me, let me tell you something. I haven't felt this way in a long time. I haven't really felt this way. God, I think the CM Punk withdrawal when he left WWE, I think that's when it really first started to settle in. But I went through and through and I said, you know what? I'm with these guys. Good times, bad times, it's whatever. But let me tell you something. And I gotta agree with my buddy Jason Solar Monster. And shout out to him. I was on his page a couple of days ago, and there's a really great discussion that's going on, talking about how unbearable it is to watch today's WWE programming. And let's really be particular with regards to the programming we're talking about. We're talking about Raw and SmackDown. And Jason was talking about how unbearable it has started to become. And off and on this show, I've definitely have said my piece on my God, right? I can't tell you how many weeks I come on here and I'll have somebody that'll say, well, this happened on Raw, and this match happened, and this match happened, and then this happened, and then there was this segment, and it's like, no, this is not a Raw recap show. We don't do that shit. There are a gazillion fucking other shows that is out there that you guys can check out if you want every single nook and cranny of what all had went down. And then we went to a Charlie Caruso backstage segment where she was talking to this little sick kid named David, and we're not, no. You know, I don't like that. I don't like that. I think the days of play by play, I'm like this. If you need every single nook and cranny, you just need to set your DVR. That's the point where I'm at right now. Because it's like there's so many other shows that can just give you, I only want to talk about key points. Key points that I find of interest, whether it's a negative thing or whether it's a positive thing. And I have tried to get to that point where even if I feel as though WWE programming for Raw and SmackDown is at a little bit of a kind of sucks, I try to look for the bright spots. Like, okay, well, can I walk away with something positive? Is there anything positive I can take away from these shows? But I agree 100% with what Jason had said, but I want to add on to that and really expand. It's not something that I haven't mentioned before. Longtime listeners have heard me say, hey, sometimes these shows are unbearable. Let me tell you something. And the missus will tell you. The missus will tell you this. Every single time it is time for me to do a show, I say to my girl, hun, I really don't want to do this. I want to just take the night off. I just want to take a week off and just recharge. Like really recharge. Because between my day job and then my side business and then doing stuff for clients related to the show, advertising slots and all that, Like, I really do not have time to really rest. I don't really have time to just, okay, I'm just catching up, you know, with me and, you know, and the family and friends. And, okay, I'm able to kick on back and maybe do some yard work, or, hey, you know, there's this thing I need to fix in the house. I need to get to that. It's like, when I do finally have that day, I can't do that because now work needs help, or I got this client that needs help, or, oh, I'm always thinking about the next show, right? And, you know, I know some of you guys will say, well, why not just take a week off? It's like, I can't. I just can't, because I've learned that when you take a week off, I mean, it doesn't hurt you in any type of way. It doesn't. But, like, I've always found that, like, when you take time off, you have to work 2 times hard to get back where you were when the last time you did the show. Because it just feels so off. Like, you're in this rotation, you're in this rhythm, and all of a sudden, like, okay, now you have this long extended break, and now you're trying to, it's not as easy as you think. It's really not. You know, a lot of people have the misconception, hey, you know, just fire up a mic, and no, it's really not that. There's a lot more to it than just that, right? But on top of feeling like that sometimes, I also go, hun, these shows are unbearable. It's like, well, why don't you just end up, you know, just record it. Just record it, you know, and come on back to it tomorrow. I can't go back to it tomorrow because tomorrow I have to do a show. So that means I would have to cram all of this in this time frame so that I can get ready and check out the show. So wait, you can't? No, I can't, because I have to watch this show, and then I'll have to watch this show, and then by the time all that's over, I got to do the show, and I haven't done any last minute preparations for what I want to talk about. Oh, it's like, yeah, right? I love it when the football season, and we're going to talk about what went down with Vonte Davis in a little bit, but I love football season. I do, because it gives me an opportunity to go, okay, I'm not liking what I'm seeing on Raw. Let me flip the channel. And one of my guilty pleasures right now is Better Call Saul. Love that show. They're in their 4th season right now. I've got a couple of episodes on the DVR. I've pretty much watched everything of this season. I think I'm about maybe now 3 episodes behind. So at this point, I think they probably may have about maybe 2, maybe 3 more episodes left. But the point is, I've just gotten to that point with regards to Monday Night Raw. You can almost predict how each segment is gonna be set up. You can almost predict how the show's gonna start. You can almost predict, okay, well, this person's probably gonna come out during the top of the 2nd hour. Most likely this is gonna go down during the top of the 3rd hour. This is probably gonna close out the show. I'll come in at about maybe the 30-minute mark. You know, 30 minutes while there's a little bit of time left in the show, or maybe 20 minutes before the show ends. I should be able to see this little spot, and yeah, I'll be good to go, right? But it's just gotten to that point where there are many weeks where Raw and SmackDown feels like a chore to watch. It feels mandatory, right? It feels mandatory for us podcasters, because at the end of the day, I mean, let's be honest, you tune into the RCWR show next week and I'm talking about nothing but politics and freaking, I don't know, Green Arrow. It's kind of like, this isn't the show that I'm accustomed to. Like, where's the talk of wrestling? And wrestling's just gone altogether. You're not even talking about wrestling anymore. Like, what the fuck is going on here, you know? So, but it's become so redundant, and see, that's the thing I really want to make sure that I bring home. They've got the talent. I mean, when I look at the current roster, right? I mean, it is exceptionally really great talent. But when you have these lame ass, stupid bookings, stupid finishes, when you have these rivalries that, okay, like, really? You're going to make us watch, oh, I don't know. You're going to make us watch Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews fight the Ascension or Authors of Pain. You're going to make us watch different variations of these two teams fighting each other, whether it's a tag team or whether it is one-on-one. You're going to make us watch like seriously? And that's the type of redundancy that I'm talking about, right? So it's very hard to motivate yourself to, okay, I got to psych myself up and I got to sit down and I got to watch this. But I do agree. I mean, Solo Monster was very spot on with his 2 cents on this. And yes, it does feel very redundant. And for me, I have found that in 2018 alone, I have ended up just saying, you know what, Raw, not tonight. Let me watch any and everything else. Because look, at the end of the day, and you know, oh, well, just watch this instead. Watch this wrestling promotion. You know how many hours of wrestling I watch a week? I watch Raw. I watch SmackDown every other week. I watch NXT. I watch Impact Wrestling. I watch Ring of Honor. I watch a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV. During a typical week, I probably burn through at least, and that's just, if I'm not even caught up, sometimes I'm 2 or 3 episodes behind, whether it's Ring of Honor or New Japan Pro Wrestling. So during a typical week for me, I am probably watching about, I would say almost 20 hours of wrestling from various promotions a week. So when I tell you guys, okay, I've been watching wrestling since the early 1980s, since about 1983, 84. I've pretty much seen it all, experienced all the ups and downs. When I can sit here and tell you guys, hey, look, man, I'm starting to notice some serious redundancy here. Like, what the hell is going on? I've now gotten to that point where I go with regards to Monday Night Raw. Okay, you know what? I'm not liking the direction of this show so far. I'll come back to this, you know what? Tuesday after I get home from work. Tonight, I want to decompress. Let me watch something else. Right? And you look at SmackDown. SmackDown was the better show. My God, it seemed like ever since they had made the move to being live, there was a couple of months there where they were just downright outbeating Monday Night Raw. But now they've kind of gotten to that spot of redundancy. They've kind of gotten to that spot of, okay, this is starting to become a little bit predictable. This is kind of a little bit flat, right? And it's sad. It really is. And, you know, I guess we could kind of get into it a little bit. Now, I'm just thinking off the break before I go into this topic, if there was anything else I wanted to. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll go into that topic in just a hot second because it ties in perfectly to the setup I had. But remember I was saying earlier, bright spots, right? Okay, let's talk about a few bright spots just from both shows, right? Now, one thing I did like was seeing my man Leo Rush. I mean, he's actually from the DMV, so got to give it up to him. I love this new role that he's in where he's basically a manager for one Bobby Lashley. That's actually, I wasn't really sure because the very first week we were introduced to him, you're going, what's going on here? But his back and forth with Elias and Elias getting the best of him, I love that. That was actually a really nice, good, bright spot for me was seeing Elias. And I mean, come on, Elias out there strumming that damn guitar, getting the crowd into it, just really letting loose. Elias definitely, for me, anytime I hear Elias is up next, that's definitely a positive. It's definitely always a bright spot. So it was nice to not only see him do his usual routine with the guitar, but, okay, here's a new interaction. Past couple of weeks, you've been interacting with different people. One week, you interact with Trish Stratus, right? And then, you know, another week you're you're interacting with this WWE legend or whatever, you know, like in Mick Foley, and you know, so he's doing all of these really cool different things. And then this past week we see him interacting with Lio Rush. You're going, okay, this should be pretty good. And I love how Elias owned the hell out of Leo. Loved that. Loved what he said. What was the line he said? Something along the lines of, hey, whose little kid is this? Don't worry, kid. We'll make sure you go up to security and they'll watch over you until we're able to call your parents to come get you. You're going, damn, that's, you know. But then eventually to see Kevin Owens come out, Kevin kind of acting like this big old freaking Godzilla creature or whatever, trying to just mangle the hair like a big old bear, basically trying to mangle the hell out of Leo, and Leo's just bouncing around like a little rabbit. I love that. And then to see Leo eventually get into the arms of Lashley, all that was good. I loved all of that, and I couldn't help but have a hearty chuckle because these guys kind of reminded me of Gilligan and Skipper from Gilligan's Island. Yeah, I know, I'm not an old man, but I am kind of like, wow, you pulled that out your ass? Yeah, I did pull that out my ass. But it reminded me a lot of Gilligan's Island, you know, and every single time you had the Skipper, hey there, little buddy, what's going on? Are you okay, little buddy? And that's exactly how Bobby Lashley kind of seemed to me on Monday night. He seemed like fucking Skipper to Lio Rush's Gilligan. You know, Gilligan's the goofy one, always getting into some type of mischief or whatever. So they make a really good pair. It's very interesting. I find it very colorful, and no, not because they're black, but I do find their pairing odd, but it does make for interesting. I will admit, though, that you get Lio Rush out there. You got Kevin Owens. Bobby Lashley, to a degree, does suck the air out of the room, which is even more the reason why he's been paired up with a guy like Lio Rush to kind of help take some of that flack off of him a bit. So I'm curious to see where things happen with regards to the Lashley character, if it's going to pick up a little bit more of a personality trait as the weeks progress. We'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. But that was actually a really nice, good, bright spot. I enjoyed that. Another bright spot I enjoyed on a positive tip was Undertaker. I did enjoy Undertaker. It was nice seeing Undertaker come out and cut his promo that he had cut. Fans were like eating all of that up too, by the way. I actually had enjoyed that. It was really nice because I usually like to have the volume up when I'm watching these things. And it was nice hearing the crowd just be as silent as possible, hanging off of every single word that The Undertaker was saying. And, you know, Undertaker pretty much saying, okay, you know what? Triple H surrounding himself with guys like Shawn Michaels. And, you know, let me tell you something about Triple H. You know, there used to be a time where Triple H wore a different type of suit. It used to be a suit that was, you know, conniving, manipulative, and, you know, he would do whatever he needed to do by any means necessary. You know, he would just do downright despicable, evil things. But he's pretty much traded that suit for something a bit more corporate. And, you know, basically his whole promo was what Triple H is spinning is basically a facade, that Triple H is being deceitful, and it's with that deception that will be his ultimate demise, as he pretty much is going to get the one up on him once again. So you're kind of going, okay, that's pretty all right, Taker, that's a nice little promo you're cutting right there. But the biggest bombshell news was that Taker said, okay, look, I know that Shawn Michaels is not going to be flying all the way over to Australia just to be in Triple H's corner by sitting ringside. No. He's literally going to be in Triple H's corner. And you know what? That's fine. Because in my corner, I'm going to have my brother Kane. So you hear that, you're going, oh, okay, so this is all right. This is nice. And before anybody even asks me about the whole Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, one more match, God, that has been beaten to death so many times. I mean, just the idea of Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement to do another match, right? This is, and I don't hear anybody saying this. I'm going to hit you guys with a little bit of a, right? And you guys probably don't even know this. And this is what I mean by sometimes when we allow ourselves, our minds in particular, to be penetrated with a narrative, a long running narrative, right? That you hear that narrative so many times and you just believe in that narrative and you're like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. I know this because that's what was said over the years, right? Little FYI for you guys. Shawn Michaels did wrestle after he retired. He did do a match. Tribute to the troops. Go do your research. So all this stuff about, you know, oh, Shawn Michaels. So look, he's already come out of retirement once. You know, now some people can say, oh, but it was just a tribute to the, doesn't matter. He still came out of retirement. He still did a match. Okay. So I think the real question that we have to ask ourselves right now is, with all of the money that the King of Saudi Arabia is going to be putting down for this next WWE event that's going to be happening, and this event is going to be happening November 2nd. It's called Crown Jewels. No, I wish it's called Crown Jewel, but I'm just going to refer to it as Crown Jewels. November 2nd. Interesting time too, by the way, because usually in the States, that's election day or whatever. So just kind of looking at the calendar, jumping ahead a little bit. I'm actually a little bit curious what day November 2nd is. Let me jump to that real quick here. November 2nd is on a Friday. So 9 times out of 10 major elections is probably going to be going down on November 6th, give or take. So yeah, but it's called Crown Jewel and it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. And one of the matches that they already announced that's going to be happening out there, it's going to be a triple threat match for the WWE Universal Championship. It's going to be Brock Lesnar taking on Roman Reigns, taking on Braun Strowman. So, yeah, I know, right? But getting back to Shawn Michaels, I don't know. I really don't know, guys. I mean, if you ask me just straight up, the fan in me, would I like to see Shawn Michaels wrestle? I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm not jumping up and down. I'm not screaming yes. I gotta... It all goes back to the conversation I had with Shawn Michaels a couple of years back. And you can actually check that out on the downloads, and it's also available on the YouTube channel. Just click on the guest exclusive section. And in that brief conversation that I had with Shawn Michaels, I actually talked to him for several more minutes before we actually did the actual conversation, you know, recording of the conversation. But I genuinely picked up from him that he is a man that is at peace. He does not have that itch. He does not miss being on the road, and he's just in an entirely different place right now mentally, and he is okay. If he were to come out of retirement and do another match, I mean, all that money that the King of Saudi Arabia is throwing down for this WWE event, for him and his people, I mean, you'd be a fool to walk away from all of that money. I mean, they are paying out the ass. They paid out the ass for the last event. And you know they're going to be paying out the ass for this event coming up, okay? So, I mean, look, you, me, everybody else, if we all have been retired for however long, and somebody comes along and says, hey, look, I'm willing to offer you XYZ amount of money, I want for you to strongly consider coming out of retirement and just a one-time deal doing this. I'm sorry, but for the right amount of money, yeah, anybody would be like, okay, look, fat ass payday. I'm going to do it. We'll be set. We can pay this. We can pay that, right? Everybody, to quote the $1 Million Man, has a price. I know, right? It's so true, though. Everybody has a price. You just got to find that right spot. Now, some people can't be bought. Some people, there are that rare breed of people that, hey, these are my principles. This is what I believe in. I'm not wavering for no one, not one thing. You can forget about it. But you have some people, there's that sweet spot, and you pretty much go from there. So, but if you ask me straight up, just the fan in me that could appreciate a guy like Shawn Michaels, yeah, you care for him wrestling? No, I mean, because for me, I grew up on the guy. Any Shawn Michaels DVD that might have came out, 9 times out of 10, I own it. It's in my collection, right? Had a chance to meet the guy, on top of interviewing him and all that. So it's like, I look back on his entire body of work and it's like, nah, man, like I'm good. Because there's like so much stuff of Shawn Michaels I can see that even if, like, say for instance, it's not on a DVD that I own, I can easily just go on Daily Motion. I can go on YouTube. Hell, man, I can even go on the WWE Network and I can look it up that way. And it's like, I'm good to go. You know, I'm good to go. But, like, I think the people that are really, really gung-ho about Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, doing one more match, I think it's a combination of people that did not get the chance to experience Shawn Michaels, you know, before he left, versus, you know, maybe those fans that kind of came on board late to Shawn Michaels and they kind of saw what went down with him and Undertaker at those back-to-back WrestleManias, and, you know, and then you got the newer fans. You know, you always got to think about the newer fans. So, you know, honestly, for me, I'm content either way. If I see it, hey, I'll be rooting the guy on just like everybody else. But if I don't see it, like, for me, it's not the end of the world, right? Life keeps on going, right? I just say, for those that just keep wanna, you know, rapping about this and all, just watch how everything plays out, right? Just deal with it accordingly. If it happens, it happens. But I don't think we all need to be just thinking about it day and night, night and day, you know? So other than that, SmackDown was pretty uneventful tonight, I would have to say. We finally okay, let's talk about some somewhat bright spots. So we see Rusev, he's in a match against Shinsuke Nakamura tonight for the United States title. And we see at one point, leading up to this match, Aiden English comes clean about his feelings teaming up with Rusev. He confided in Lana and pretty much had told her that, like, hey, look, the only reason why Rusev Day really took off, it was because of me. And yeah, things got pretty heated there. And then Rusev came along and wanted for Aiden to accompany him to the ring, doing his usual shtick. And closing moments of the matchup looked as though Rusev was maybe about to get the job done and becoming the new United States champion, when Aiden English had jumped up on the apron, yelled at Rusev. Rusev's wondering, what the hell are you doing, dude? Nakamura was able to take advantage of the distraction, retain his United States title that way. But then shortly after that, Aiden English comes in, attacks Rusev with a microphone, and all Lana could do is just look on, screaming, begging for Aiden to get off of him. Poor acting by Lana, by the way. She really didn't put enough feeling into it as far as I'm concerned. But so now it's official. And now, you know, and that's a hard 180 going from the pay-per-view, right? So you go from Sunday and here, I mean, that was a serious hard 180. I mean, it was like Aiden English just snapped, basically. But now it is what it is. And I mean, I don't really think a lot of fans particularly care for a Rusev Aiden English feud. You know, there was so much hope that this past Sunday, hey, Aiden English, Rusev, they're finally going to get their time in the sun. They're going to be tag champions. Give Rusev something. You know, he has the great match with AJ Styles. He works with The Undertaker, and I mean, he does all of these cool things. Whatever is asked of him, he's doing it. And, you know, you got to reward that type of dedication. You got to reward that type of good, hard work. There's dedication, and there's, you know what, on top of your dedication, yeah, it's your job, but you know what? You're putting in some really good effort, like what I'm seeing. And Rusev is one of those guys. It's like, okay, we're going to reward you. But, I mean, if you're a fan of Rusev, okay, had the title shot against AJ Styles, man, you thought for sure that maybe he was going to be a future main event player. Not necessarily a heavyweight champion, but, okay, maybe he's going to start being in rotation in the main event scene now because of the great outing that he had with AJ Styles. Nah, bring it on back. Bring it on back. Rewind. Like, okay, well, you know, maybe the United States title. No, you can forget that. Well, maybe the tag. No, you can forget that. So now you're kind of left at this crossroads where it's like, okay, so everything that was ever good about Rusev, the little catchphrases and Aiden English and, you know, Lana being able to capitalize off of it, but really being able to capitalize her team up with her husband during the first season of the Mixed Match Challenge. Like, everything good. It seems like every time Rusev is able to catch something, catch some type of lightning in a bottle and run with it, it seems like upper brass only takes it but so far and then scales back, right? So now you're left with this freaking Aiden English feud. And I mean, who does this really benefit? I mean, look, let's look on the positives, right? Can't always be negatives. Let's look at the positives. On the positives, if you are an Aiden English fan, if you're a Rusev fan, you're continuing to see these guys on WWE programming, right? Okay, you know you're going to get these guys at a pay-per-view, okay? But then you got to think long-term. Okay, well, this is great right now for maybe about 2 months. Fans aren't really going to be interested in this feud for 3 months or 4 months. They're not really going to be interested in that. You know, so this is actually a short-term feud when you think about it a little bit more, right? So just fast forward a little bit. Where do you go 3 months from now? Where do you go 6 months from now with both of these guys? Is it going to be a situation where come 2019, once Rusev finally has this rivalry behind him, he's going to be looking to become the WWE champion, and he's looking to win the Royal Rumble as a result? Is that maybe the path that Rusev is going to go? See, for me, the one that could really be hurting from this 6 months from now is a guy like Aiden English. That is a guy that you really need to be concerned with, because you're going, okay, well, after this feud with Rusev, where does he go? Right? I mean, what, is he maybe gonna go on over to 205? Does he even make the weight for that? I mean, I know he's a skinny guy, but is he even the 205 limit? Do you maybe send him over there? Or I had put the idea out there off and on the past couple of months. Do you maybe do a revision of the Vault Villains, and do you maybe have him team up with Jack Gallagher? I mean, that would be somewhat of a interesting team up right there. I would love to see, in a perfect scenario, I would love to see Aiden English with Jack Gallagher and Tyler Bate. I just think they would make an interesting trio. I just do. Whether or not WWE sees that, you got me, right? But that's what you really got to think about. Because, I mean, long-term wise, Rusev is going to be okay. Rusev has already shown, hey, look, if you put him in these particular type of situations and that's what you need for the time being, Rusev is that guy you can go to. But with a guy like Aiden English, I don't really know. I don't really know. Seriously, I don't. But love the spot there with Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Pretty much a good way to close out SmackDown. I love that. So let me see if I got this straight. So we have WWE programming this week. One show you have Kill You, and then on the other show, SmackDown, we have Bitch. Yeah, that was actually another funny spot. Got to go back to Raw one more time. You had a spot where Braun Strowman is telling Baron Corbin how much he sucks. Talked about how Roman Reigns sucked. Talked about how the fans sucked. Talked about how the whole situation sucked, that he got screwed out of winning the championship at Hell in a Cell. And he even talked about how it sucked that he had to wait for his title shot pretty much in November. He also talked about how it sucked that Brock Lesnar keeps meddling in his business, and like this is the second time he's done so, and that there's not going to be a third time. And you know, honestly, Braun Strowman needs to be, storyline wise, he needs to be fixated on Brock Lesnar right now, because this is the second time that Brock Lesnar has burned him, right? So Braun needs to, just storyline wise, you're looking at the consistency of that, he needs to be hell-bent on getting a hold of Brock Lesnar by any means, right? But you see that one part where Braun runs into Baron Corbin backstage, and he pretty much tells him, you know, you freaking suck. And you know what? Actually, let's play the audio. let's actually play the audio, because I actually had posted that on the Facebook page, and you guys will actually be able to hear that audio. Because I'm trying to remember his exact words, but I don't remember his exact words right now. But it ended with him, "I will murder you," and I laughed my ass off so hard at that, because I'm just like, the first thing I pictured in my head was, that's exactly what you would say to somebody, like your best friend in particular, if you lost to them in a game of Madden. And I actually had shared that on social media, and I mean, I was just busting a freaking gut at that. See here, and we'll talk about Matt Hardy in a little bit. Yep, here it is. Okay, I'm see if I can turn this up for you guys here. Get the volume going here. And
I know that I can kill you.
One more time.
You suck, and I know that I can kill you.
And so, I mean, you hear that and you're going, wait a minute now, wait a minute. Did he just say the K word? Because if he just said the K word, oh my God. We just saw Bailey come out with all the little sick kids because it's Connor's Cure Month, and you're going, oh, and then you're thinking about the Snickers sponsors and all that, and you're kind of like, they just said the K word. Like, ooh, like HR, Braun Strowman, please report to HR. And then you go to SmackDown tonight, and Becky Lynch is like, oh, Charlotte, you know, I see you came on down here and everything. You know, nah, you know what I'd like for you to do is I want for you to put the championship around my waist. And Charlotte's just looking at her like, okay, and no, well, why don't you raise my hand? And Charlotte's like, you know what, forget this, you're not even worth it. I mean, just what I see standing before me, there's not even a shred of a person that's there that used to be my friend. Like, I'm done with you. And Becky's like, no, just come back, you know, okay, I didn't really want you to do all that, but what I would like you to do is call me queen. And Charlotte just looks at her, scoffs at her, and just walks away. And Becky just says, bitch. And I just love the way Becky says that word. And I don't know if Road Dogg and them are just like creaming their pants when she says that. But just, you know, there's some people that they just can't get away saying that. But I mean, that just sounds so freaking not taboo. It's just, I just like the way Becky delivers that line, man. It's so awesome. But you know, I'm really happy, despite what I said on the Hell in a Cell after show, and I hope my words weren't taken out of context. I'm a big Becky Lynch fan. I'm happy that Becky Lynch has this opportunity right now, but I really was under the impression that at the Evolution pay-per-view, Becky was going to get the championship, and that would have, to me, just from a booking and marketing standpoint, would have made so much more sense, because you know you're going to have that core audience that, it's just a women's pay-per-view, I don't really care about that, I'll just check out the highlights, I'll check out the recap on that week's Raw and SmackDown. But like, hey, this is what you missed, and then to have that person go, well, damn, I didn't know that was going to happen. Like, legitimately, I didn't know that was going to happen. Oh, well, now I got to go watch this. I got to go see what had happened. I just really felt that the payoff would have been so much more sweeter and that much more meaningful if they would have had it all play out at the Evolution pay-per-view, because now you're kind of going, okay, well, we're about a month away now. Like, what are you going to do for Evolution? How are you going to sweeten this up a little bit, right? How are you going to make it interesting? I can't wait to see what they do. I really, really cannot wait to see how they're going to do this. But, and it was so surreal seeing the reactions from the fans too, because they had their moment, they popped, but then it was kind of like, okay, we got what we wanted, so what's next? And it's like you could have done so much more milking out of that. So much more. I mean, this was just getting started. If you really stop and think about it, this was really just getting started, their rivalry. So you really could have built this up properly going into Evolution. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. Still happy. But I love the way she just delivered that line, man. And, you know, I remember Becky on the Independents and didn't see all her stuff, mind you, but I saw a decent amount, and one of the first things I just noticed about her was the red hair and how much she reminds me of veteran actress Maureen O'Hara. For you Hollywood buffs out there, look her up. But you know, when you look her up and you kind of compare her to Becky Lynch, there's strong similarities, not just the fiery red hair and the whole, you know, background there, but there's a lot of mannerisms that you can see in both of them, you know. So it's kind of interesting when you look at certain cats, you can kind of pick up certain actors, right? Like Roman Reigns, I always forget the guy's name, but when I look at the dude that's playing Aquaman, Jason, I don't know the last name, I think it starts with an M. Like, he looks like freaking Roman Reigns. When I look at a guy like, actually, or girl rather, when I look at Ruby Riott, and I'm surprised WWE haven't dubbed her this yet. Maybe they don't want to get any type of lawsuits or whatever by Marvel, but every time I look at Ruby Riott, she, for me, and I always say this about her, she is the Jessica Jones of the WWE. Love Jessica Jones. So interesting. And Kristen Ritter does a fantastic job as Jessica Jones. My God, she is a cutie, by the way. So, you know, a little back and forth there. You guys enjoying the show so far? If you are, make sure you give a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, do subscribe. We got to pay some bills, man. We got to recognize some of our sponsors for tonight's episode. We also have to recognize our Patreon members. Let's recognize our Patreon members first, because our Patreon members, they are the heartbeat of the RCWR show, because shows like what you're checking out right now would not be free. And that is largely in part thanks to our Patreon members. So we definitely want to recognize our Patreon members. Shout out to the beautiful and the lovely Courtney Summers. Shout out to my man Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. He is back. His computer is fixed. Missed that guy, man. It felt like it's been about 3 weeks or whatever, man. Great to have him back. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Shout out to Michael Wolf, and shout out to John Davis. Appreciate our Patreon members. And remember, man, patreon.com/RCWR Show. $5 a month gets you the hookup, man. You get bonus access to new audio, video content you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. You get access to exclusive episodes of 30 with Lee. I pretty much talk about current movies that's in the theaters. I also talk a lot about retro movies, TV shows, a lot of good stuff. And then we've got the 30 for not 30 for Lee. We just talked about that. We also got the Wrestling with the Topic series that's hosted by me and the missus. And you know, of all the shows, I love doing that show the most, because it's nice to just fire up the microphone. And there's no script, you know, it's just me and the missus, and we just randomly talk about random shit. Sometimes like some philosophical, mostly funny shit, but of all the shows, I look forward to doing that one the most. So speaking of which, me and her got to sit down, I think sometime this week. I got to see how her schedule's looking, and we're going to fire that up and have some fun. Also, recognize some of our other sponsors for tonight's episode. JustDoItAfraid.com. JustDoItAfraid.com, helping you by providing the best consultation, tips, and planning when it comes to student loans. Definitely want to give them a nod. Been very awesome partnering up with them for a couple of weeks. So I am going to pause for a couple of seconds, and we're going to let just two of our sponsors play, and we'll let them play, and then we're going to have some more fun with some more RCWR show for you guys. So just kick back, listen to these two ads, be about 3 minutes, and then I'll come on back and we'll have some more fun. All right. Those of you who are current or former students dealing with a student loan or getting ready to embark on getting a student loan, listen up. I know it can be challenging and scary with this experience. I can tell you, when me and my friends were in school, we didn't have all the information that's out there now available at your fingertips to make the best decision possible. And as a result, we are still paying off our student loans this very day. Students, parents, listen up. Don't go down this path. My friend, Dr. Linda at JustDoItAfraid.com is here to help with student loan consultation and mentorship. She specializes in college students and their parents considering student loans for the first time, or those who are having difficulty repaying their loans, those who are in default. With ongoing consultation, you will understand how student loans work, what repayment plan will work for you, how to temporarily postpone payment if you're having financial difficulty, and how to consolidate 2 or more of your loans into one loan, and if in default, how to get out, how to have the most of your student loans be forgiven. These services, great services at that, are provided by Dr. Linda, who is a former college financial aid advisor, a college admission counselor, and college instructor. Her services are very affordable, personable, and confidential, so you have nothing to lose but so much to gain. Head on over to JustDoItAfraid.com and get advice from an expert. That's www.justdoitafraid.com. I'm gonna give that to you one more time. JustDoItAfraid.com. October 26th through November 2nd. Don't miss out on the Hollywood Initiative happening in Los Angeles, California. Are you an aspiring actor looking to better your career? Learn the essential tools you'll need at the Hollywood Initiative. Receive training in voice coaching. Participate in acting classes, workshops, demo scenes, headshots. Meet with agents and directors and so much more at the Hollywood Initiative. Have questions for the experts? Participate in the Hollywood Initiative's Q&A show. Don't miss out on this week-long event that will help move your career forward. Apply now. Register at thehollywoodinitiative.com. That's thehollywoodinitiative.com. And be sure to follow the Hollywood Initiative on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords The Hollywood Initiative. Alright, so we're back. So I couldn't wait to get into this one topic because I heard this, and I gotta give a shout out to one of my Twitter followers because he tagged me in this with some of my other buddies / colleagues, and I see this comment and I'm going, what the flying fuck? And thus it ties into the title for tonight's episode, and I couldn't wait to dive into this. So Stephanie McMahon, she had made headlines. She was one of the featured speakers at last week's Sports Business Journal's 2018 SBJ Game Changers Conference that went down in New York City. This was pretty much a one-day event focusing on the multiple ways in which women intersect with sports. And during a discussion panel called Ideas That Move Us Forward, Storytelling in Sports Business, Stephanie had revealed the reason behind WWE's success. And I quote, "We're successful for one reason only. We listen to our audience." So you hear this, and let me continue. Oh, Yeah. So she said the audience is the catalyst behind the rise of women in WWE, saying, and I quote, "It's about doing, not just talking. You have to listen to your audience. Their voice matters." Okay. So, I know we had Dave Lagana and a couple of other people. They're always quick to say, well, the WWE, they had made a boatload of fucking money, and they've got this new deal with Fox. They're in the billions, blah this, blah that, all this other silly little crap that's going on, right? And you got guys like Dave Lagana that's jumping out there and saying, okay, well, you show me how you're doing with your job and how much money you're able to bring in, yeah, didn't think so. You got little snide comments that are coming in like that, right? So I hear these words from Stephanie McMahon, and I couldn't help but have a hearty chuckle, because I'm reminded of a couple of things with regards to Stephanie McMahon. One of the first things I'm reminded of is a infamous quote that she said at a conference a couple of years ago, where she said philanthropy is the wave of the future, right? So you hear that, and then I remember another conference where she says, not this same conference, but there was another conference where she says that they look at the WWE universe as a focus group. They treat the WWE universe, the fans, as a focus group. And for those of you that are maybe a little bit younger, or you've kind of heard focus group, but you don't know the logistics of it and all that other stuff, I actually work in marketing research, okay? So a focus group is basically a study where people from various economic backgrounds, could sometimes be religious, education, could be gender, the age, all that, just certain demographic groups that are invited to a study, and they will talk about a particular topic, product, or service with a moderator. And it's kind of like a meeting of the minds, if you will, right? It's like a brainstorming session. So you could have some situations where, and I've worked with Bethesda many times, Bethesda Software, the game publisher people. I've worked with them many times in trying to set up focus group studies. And you can have a situation, for example, where, we may need gamers 18 to 40, and there has to be like a certain amount of games that they play per hours on a particular system, etc. And it's like a study, basically maybe talking about the next Elder Scrolls game or whatever, okay? And we're showing them firsthand, okay, these are the graphics, what do you think? Is this something that you think you would buy, etc., whatever, right? So you can have some studies that deal with video games. You can have other studies that maybe are talking about politics. It just depends on what that client is looking for and trying to make their focus group study be a success. So when Stephanie McMahon said a couple of years back in this one interview how the WWE Universe, they look at as a focus group because they dictate what works, what doesn't work, what direction maybe the company needs to go in. So hearing that, and then hearing this infamous line of Stephanie McMahon saying what she just said last week, you're going, well, wait a minute now. If that's really the truth, if it's really true that WWE is successful for one reason, they listen to their audience, then why the hell is Roman Reigns the WWE Universal Champion right now? Why is it a situation where every time I turn on WWE programming, in particular RAW, I am getting lackluster, stupid booking, finishes, weak plot holes in the story for that week and a rivalry or whatnot, or as I like to dub it, stupid booking 101. Why am I experiencing a lot of these? Why are the pay-per-views usually a miss? Most of these pay-per-views that have been pumped out in the year 2018 alone ain't been a home run. I mean, NXT has just been taking the mantle and has just been winning for the past couple of years now when it comes to their events, right? So, you know, you got all of these things that's going on, and you have so many fans. And see, this is the thing. It's not about being a smark. It's not about being a mark, okay? I've never believed in those terms. At the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, we're all just fans. We're in this for one thing, wrestling, right? So, what I don't understand is fans that are being very vocal. They're being very passionate, and they know how to use their words. They aren't throwing a temper tantrum. They're not cursing anybody out on social media. They are simply letting their voices be heard. Okay? Hey, I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about as far as a fan stating their opinion and then being told that basically their opinion don't mean shit. This stays in the realm of what Stephanie McMahon just said. Stay with me now and marinate on this. Stephanie McMahon says, and I quote, "We're successful for one reason only. We listened to our audience." Now, this is reshared by one of the people that was at this event. The timestamp on this is September 12th, 2018, 3:54 p.m. Eastern. Okay? Now, to that point. A couple of days later, on September the 16th, we have a fan that was very vocal, got into a very friendly exchange with WWE superstar Goldust. And he had a problem with the current way that the Becky Lynch Charlotte storyline was going down. It really just, he didn't like it. He didn't like what he was seeing. Okay? Now, he says, and I quote, "A much better story would have been Becky defeating a heel Charlotte after she returned at SummerSlam and turned heel on Becky and took her spotlight." Not really any harm there, right? So Goldust, now understand how this was set up by Goldust. One of the first statements that Goldust had put out, and this actually was on Twitter. And what he said on Twitter, basically those that had a problem with the Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair story, and in particular fans that were complaining about Becky Lynch, he basically threw a insult at them. Now, I have the tweet exchange that went down between him and the fan that I had just mentioned, but let me see if I can actually pull up what Goldust had said that pretty much had ignited everybody going, Goldust, what the hell? And I tell you what, if he deleted it, that just says a lot about Goldust. But I don't think he deleted it. Let's see if we actually can pull it up here. So we know it was on the 16th. I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it up here. Let's see here. I'm still looking. We're still on the 16th. We're still on the 16th. Nope, don't see it now. Well, wait a minute. Nope. I'm seeing him in pictures of his dog. Yeah, now we're on September 12th. That's a little too far back. Let's jump ahead a little bit here. I'll actually have to rely on you guys in the chat because now I'm not seeing it. Did he either deleted it or... Let's see. Nope, that ain't it. That's not... Yeah, if somebody could find me what he originally had said, because now I'm not seeing it. But it was a fucked up thing that he had said with regards to everybody that was sharing their thoughts about what was going on with the current Becky Lynch story arc. And the one fan had said what he had said with that suggestion. No problem there, right? But then Goldust comes right back and says to that young kid, thanks for your 2 cents, but unfortunately for you, it ain't worth a thin dime. I'm gonna repeat that again. Thanks for your 2 cents, but unfortunately for you, it ain't worth a thin dime. But wait a minute, Goldust. Stephanie McMahon just said that we're successful for one reason only. We listened to our audience. So I'm a little bit confused here. I actually jumped in on this conversation and I said to Goldust, I said, here's the problem with your comment. Stephanie McMahon and executives constantly remind us they treat the WWE universe as a focus group and figuring out what's good, what's bad. They say they listen. Mark or smark, because that was one of the things that he had put out there when he was insulting people. He did use the mark reference. So I say to him, mark or smark, all opinions matter. Why crap on fans giving feedback who are respectful? Now, Goldust does not have any type of a rebuttal to that whatsoever. You know what Goldust does? He actually blocked the RCWR show on Twitter. Now, I didn't take that personal. I didn't. And the way I have found out about it, when I was getting ready to do the show for you guys, I'm like, oh yeah, where's that tweet that I had? Where's that exchange that I had with Goldust? I need to find that real quick. And all of a sudden I couldn't find it. I'm like, well, I know I jumped in on a conversation. Where the hell did it go? And so I had to like really, okay, at the RCWR show, at Goldust, and I find it that way. And then I never was following Goldust. That's the thing. Never was following it. So I see that, you know, I didn't even click on his profile. I just like highlighted his name and I was able to see, oh, you are blocked from viewing the tweets of Goldust. And I'm going, wow, we're rolling like that? I mean, if he felt that I was out of line, Goldust could have easily just came right back and said, hey, look, all due respect, but no, like, I really believe that, yes, everybody has their own opinion and, you know, that's what makes this whole thing work. And I think you're kind of taking some of the things that I'm saying out of context. He could have easily came right back and said that. And I would have been like, oh, okay, well, please, respectfully, enlighten me, enlighten all of us. How should we be taking what you're saying? Because when you hear somebody say that, and I mean, it wasn't, what I said to him, it was not combative in any type of way. It wasn't putting the man down or the WWE in any type of way. It was a legit question, a legit fucking question. I said, here's the problem with your comment. Stephanie McMahon and executives constantly remind us they treat the WWE universe as a focus group in figuring out what's good, what's bad. They say they listen. Mark or smark, all opinions matter. Why crap on fans giving feedback who are respectful? Now, I agree with as much as the next person, all right? I've lived by a philosophy for many years now, which is if you want respect, you got to put it out there first, okay? You got to. It's 50-50. It can't be one-sided. All right. So you treat me like a fucking human being, I'm going to come right back and I'm going to give it to you. But if you treat me like a piece of shit, I'm going to come back and I'll be just as nastier. OK, that's just how I roll. Now, as I've gotten older, I've just gone, OK, you want to go the stupid route? I ain't got time for that. I'll just mute and block your ass and I'll never have to be concerned with you again. But like, this is the fucking problem that I'm noticing with today's society, which is we all say these big bad things on social media. And since Goldust was ripped a new asshole from a majority of people online, now he's trying to piggy on back and say, oh, I love all my fans, I appreciate you all, and you know, you all's opinions do matter. And it's like, no, dude, it's like you already said what you said initially online. Fucking own it. It's yours. Just own it. if that's how you really feel, brother, I mean, look, you're getting your paycheck regardless. Okay? You're set. You're good. You're with WWE until maybe you decide, you know what, I want to go try something else differently. WWE, thank you for the opportunities, but I'm going to go elsewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'll go hook up with my younger brother and, you know, maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe all in too. Who knows? Right? But no, you've already jumped out there and you said what you said. I've done this show since 2011. You don't think I've come on this show and I've made mistakes before? Whether it is something that I have fucked up, you know, maybe I reported some news that was very inaccurate, or maybe I didn't have all the facts to something, or you don't think I've come right back on the same episode or on the very next show and said, hey, I fucked up and this is why I fucked up, and hey, I apologize. You know, I gotta own the shit. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Okay? But like, and this isn't about, you know, oh, you're a good person, Lee, and fuck all that. It's not about me. What it's about right now is how today's society is operating, which is when you have people that jump out there like Goldust did, right? Now, if he really meant well, and if he was very sincere and honest about, hey, no, my friend, you're taking what I'm saying out of context. That's actually not what I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to be malice in the way I responded to the fan. You're taking what I'm saying all wrong. He could have easily came right back and said so, but instead to go the block route. Okay, so let me see if I got this straight. So anybody that does not, what, kiss your ass and tell you how great you are and, you know, how much your dad had meant to them, that, you know what, you're gonna block them, right? And you see this trend everywhere. It's like if you don't agree with the philosophy of one person, then you're just an outcast off the break, right? I mean, I was just spellbound at the way that had played out. So you have Stephanie McMahon say this at a conference, and then less than 3 days later, you have Goldust conducting himself the way that he's conducting himself on social media. And rather than double down and stay that path, right? No, he piggies on back and, oh, I love the fans. I love you guys. And, you know, look, I know there was a significant period of years where he was dealing with some serious demons. And let me tell you something, man, firsthand, and I hope Goldust finds this. I really hope he does. Because despite how he operated, the way he operated, I still have respect for the man and everything that he's done for the business. I know what his family has done for the business. So that respect is always going to be there. But you know what? Me and Goldust, we're actually a lot alike as far as dealing with drugs, because I had a very close family member that dealt with drugs, and I saw what it was doing to them firsthand for many, many years. And it got to that point where they either needed to get cleaned up, or that was going to be their life as they knew it. It was going to cease to exist. And it took some tough love, but they finally got cleaned up. You know, they went the spiritual tip, and you know what? They haven't touched drugs of any type in almost 20 years now. 20 years now and counting. They're taking it one day at a time. Okay? So, trust me when I say that if there was ever anybody that was rooting Goldust on to overcome his demons, I definitely was one of those guys, pom-poms in the air, rooting him on, and I'm still rooting him on this very day. I know just recently he had shared an image of himself online. I hope I'm not getting my guys mixed up. Actually, I believe I am, because there was a coin. It wasn't him. It was Mike Kanellis I'm thinking of, if I'm not mistaken. But Goldust, it's well documented all of the issues that he's had with substance abuse over the years. And I've continued to root him on, giving the man praise many times. you know, and it's just in situations like this, you know. Now look, I'm not no Johnny come lately podcaster. You know, I'm gonna continue to say, do things that may offend people. I'm not in this game to be popular. I don't want to be popular. I don't want to be one of those guys, oh, I'm gonna kiss your ass, and oh, yeah, I'm gonna play nice with. Let me tell you something. I've never shared this story before, but while we're talking about Goldust, okay, I have history with Goldust. And Goldust may not even remember this, but this is what I mean by, hey, when they go low, you go high, right? I remember a couple of years ago, it was about maybe, okay, I've been on the air since 2011. I will say, and that's none of your business, Beyonce's Mega Man. Oh, no, I thought that was a question for me. I'm sorry, Beyonce Mega Man. Beyonce Mega Man wants to know whom are you referring to in his family? I don't know what you're talking about, his family. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, that's irrelevant. What we're talking about right now. A couple of years ago, I've been on the air since 2011. I remember, I want to say around 2014, I want to say. I actually had reached out to Goldust, and if I remember the timeline right, he was not even doing anything with the WWE. My mind's a little, I could be wrong, you guys gotta forgive me, but I remember, it might not even been 2014, but it kind of feels like it was around that period. But the point is, God, business was good back then for the RCWR show. I mean, we were pulling, my God, I think we were still doing the Blog Talk Radio Day. So, I mean, we were averaging on a monthly basis, we were getting about probably 80,000 downloads, plays a month or something like that. But then, like, once we left Blog Talk, because the audio quality, it was just shit. I got sick and tired of it. And, like, we finally had moved away from that platform and really started embracing YouTube. Then we didn't start doing Spreaker until like 2 years ago. And it was kind of like, so we've been kind of like in a rebuilding, rebranding process ever since. But I remember when the numbers for the show were at its most strongest around that time period, I actually had reached out to Goldust. And I said to Goldust in an email, I said, hey, dude, I told him about my show, and I said, look, I said, I would love to have you come on to the show. It would mean a lot. If it's a situation where, you know, you would like to be compensated for your time, would have no problem doing it. You know, just let me know. And so Goldust came right back, and in the email, he said, I don't do freebies. And so I came right back. I said, well, Goldust, I don't even think I called him Goldust. I called him by his real name. I said, hey, I said, you might have missed what I said in the last email. I said, but I'm not asking you to do a freebie. You know, if you want to be compensated for your time, I can definitely compensate you for your time. You just tell me how much you'd like to be compensated, and I can let you know if I could even make that happen. But yeah, it would really be awesome. We could have you on the show. You know, seen some of your stuff from over the years, and I mentioned some of the other shows, and he just not interested. And I remember there was like a couple of other people that like reached out to him on social media, and you know, they were like, hey man, it'd be really awesome if you could come, you know, do the show, blah blah blah. And I mean, he was shooting them down, and the way he went about it, it was rather smug, pretty rude, and you're kind of going, damn, Goldust, what the fuck, you know? So my first, like, okay, trying to work out something with Goldust, it was negative then. So for me to be in the position that I'm in all of these years later, just think about that for a second. That might have been like 2013, 2014, and like that was negative then, and then to fast forward all of these years later, and wow, Goldust, damn, you're rolling like this? What's up, dog? To say I'm not really surprised, I'm really not surprised. If anything, I'm disappointed because I would have thought if anybody would have truly cared about, you know what, y'all's opinions actually sincerely do matter. And you know what, I'm kind of like living proof of that, because there were so many people of you that were very vocal and sharing your opinions with me, Goldust, and wanting for me to get a better grip on my life and getting a better control of my demons. And, you know, really, you know, you guys have no idea how awesome it is, how therapeutic it is to have you guys in my life on social media here. And, you know, you guys just don't know. And, you know, if anybody would understand, hey, opinions, a guy like Goldust, because at the end of the day, it is all about wanting acceptance. At the end of the day, it is all about wanting that nod of approval, right? So I will just say I'm a little bit disappointed, but you know what? Even if it was a situation where, hey, I work for this employer, so you know what? Even if you're right, I really don't even want to get in trouble, because if I say something, it could come back and it can mess up my paycheck. You got a couple of options. Either you can come right in and say no comment, or you could just be like, don't even say nothing. Just pretend like you don't even... And it was then during that exchange, and I literally have found out he had blocked the show. Now, he didn't block my personal account. I am still following him on my personal account, or accounts, I should say. I only have two other, and you know, those are fuck you. You're not getting the handles for those, because that's just friends and family only. But he and I say fuck you with love, but no, seriously, almost got a brain fart there. No, Goldust, you know, I still got nothing but love for the guy, you know, and I'm still going to continue to root him on. I don't want anybody, you know, oh, he's mad, because I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, you know, and it just sucks. But, you know, when you just tie that, and you tie that into, oh, Stephanie McMahon saying, oh, we listen to our... I can't tell you, I'm actually part of the WWE Fan Council, and you do like monthly surveys, and they ask you, hey, how would you rate this pay-per-view? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about that? And all of this other shit, right? And half the damn time, it feels like your voice ain't really being heard. Oh, we're thinking about putting out these DVDs. And it's like, well, I want to see this happen. Okay, well, we'll take that into account. Fuck you. And it's like, okay, it doesn't happen. Hey, how would you like it if we could get a hold of some old NWA footage and show it on the network? Yeah. How do you feel about these certain shows? Oh, Legends with JBL? That should come back. Oh, I love that fucking show. Yeah, bring that show back. That show was fucking tight. Thank you, fuck you, bye. That's not happening, so, you know, you can forget about it. You know, it's like, well, damn. You say my voice matters, but the shit that you're putting out there ain't what I'm asking for. So what the flying fuck, right? You know, seriously, what the flying fuck? So, no. We'd be here all night talking about every single thing that's currently wrong with the WWE product. We can be in agreement. We all are not stupid. We all are not naive. No, we are not being listened to. If we were truly being listened to, where the flying fuck is our ice cream sandwich bars, WWE? We've been waiting for that for years, and we thought for sure CM Punk was going to be able to do that. We thought for sure New Day was going to be able... Didn't New Day... No. New Day came out with their own, and they were eating them, but no, we never even got our damn WWE ice cream bars. So, no, you guys ain't listening. But thank you for making the attempt. I'll tell you what, if you guys really want to listen to the WWE fan base, I think it all should start with this Evolution pay-per-view. I don't like this rumor that I'm hearing that not Triple H, but Vince McMahon, supposedly, is in charge of Evolution. I'm having a hard time believing that. I'm not buying that. No way, no how. I'm not buying that. Who better to understand all of those women than Triple H and his crew, because they worked with all of those girls practically down in NXT. So who better than Triple H to be the one to work with those girls on the Evolution, you know, booking the show. I mean, look, I wouldn't even have a problem if it's a situation where Adam Pearce and Devon Dudley are the ones that's in charge of putting the show together, the booking, the finishes. They've done some pretty good solid work before. They've actually produced a couple of episodes of SmackDown that I thought were very enjoyable. Now, I don't know if it's kind of scaled back, you know, their hands-on within recent months, but the times that I was aware that they did something and putting the show together and all of that, they did pretty good. So, what the fuck? Yeah, Mark, yeah, it was CM Punk, but there was actually a period, if you guys remember, I want to say maybe it was last year, New Day came out talking about ice cream bars, and there was one week where they actually came out, all three of them had WWE ice cream bars, and they were eating them, and they said some shit like, coming soon to a store near you, or something like that, and it never happened as far as I remember. Trust me, that's like all I heard about was ice cream bars when I was in Chicago for the CM Punk meet and greet a couple of weeks ago. There were like so many people talking about CM Punk ice cream bars, it wasn't even funny. It's fucking hilarious. So, hypocritical, as always, from the WWE, you know, yeah, we want your money and all this other shit, but, you know, whatever. Hey, congrats to the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, tied the knot for a fifth time. Saw a little bit of the wedding highlights that he made available on some of his social media pages. I hear apparently he's gonna try to make like a little mini documentary out of it, so folks that wish they could have partaken in the event, they'll be able to have a little something. So I think that's kind of nice, you know. But I mean, number 5. Whew, I really hope that Ric Flair, and it really seems like he's truly found the one. It seems like this woman has really, and when you look up the history of these two as it was chronicled so eloquently in the 30 for 30 on Ric Flair, you know, it really seems like this go round, I know it's number 5, but it really feels like this go round he's finally found the one that successfully has been able to tame him, keep him calm, and don't go out there doing stupid shit. So I just really hope for his sake he can ride this out into the sunset, right? I really sincerely mean that. And see, the reason why I'm spending a couple of minutes talking about that is because, you know, I was once married, and I'm getting ready to embark on my second marriage. And it was kind of cool showing the missus some of the video highlights of what was going on with Ric Flair's wedding and all that. And the missus said to me, is that how you kind of want to stream our wedding? Because we're talking about streaming the wedding maybe on like Twitch, YouTube, for those that's not going to be able to attend. We're talking about streaming it, and I said, yeah, I said kind of something like that. I said, I don't really know just yet. I'm still trying to work out the logistics, try to even figure it out if I even want to be bothered with that shit. But, you know, it was nice. It looked like it was a very nice reception, and I tell you, after my first marriage ended, I wasn't really sure if I even wanted to fucking get married again. And the only thing I just kept telling myself was, okay, look, you got married when you were very young. I got married when I was 20. I think I got married when I was 23 going on 24. So I was really fucking young. I just thought, you know, hey, it's cool. I've got this great hot looking girl and, you know, yeah, what the hell? Sure, whatever. You know, why not? And, you know, if I could have done a couple of things differently, I really would have just slowed things down, and I really would have taken my time to really get to know her and really make sure that, okay, this is definitely somebody I want to spend the rest of my life with. You know what? I think I'm better off just being friends with this person because, right, hindsight's 20/20. So, you know, when I came out of that marriage, I'm sure to a certain degree, Ric Flair probably went through this as well, you know, questioning, okay, do I really want to, you know, well, I kind of want to take it slow, but I don't want to be missing out on a really good opportunity, you know. And Beyonce's Mega Man, 23, 24, that is young, my friend, especially when it's a situation where, see, you got to look at it like this. When you are a product child from the 80s, and there is a certain way that you are being brought up, most kids that were born in the 80s, they're told by their parents, hey, don't worry about getting married and all that. Worry about that, you know, maybe once you're in your early 30s. That's when you worry about that, okay? Because you need to use your 20s and you need to finish college, get your career, get your degree, get your career. And then once you get your career and you're set, you've got your money, get yourself a home if you can get it. You may have to do a nice apartment for a little bit, but your ultimate goal should be to get your own place, whether that's a house or it's a condo. Don't start thinking about girls and all that, getting married and settling down. Don't start thinking about all that until you're at least in your late 20s, going into your early 30s. For us product and, you know, people that were born in the 80s like me, like 80 through 83, they'll tell you that the way they were raised, that's how they were set up. Okay. So for me and class of 2000, it was basically, okay, now you're going to go to college. Okay, you're going to do a 2-year college or you're going to do a 4-year college. If you're going for your master's, then you're going to do 6 fucking years. But while you're doing all that, you're going to do everything that I just said a couple of seconds ago. So for me to be 23 years of age going on 24, all I was thinking about, and see, I don't know what's going on with today's young men that's running around, but back then, when I was coming up, I'll be honest, I was a fucking freak. When I was in my 20s, all I wanted to do was sex, fuckity fuck, sex, right? I'd meet a girl at the bar, you know, I'd take her back to my place, or we go back to her place, we'd smash, or, you know, maybe a situation had occurred where I was at a party, I met a girl, and, you know, but like I was hit it and run. You know, that's all I kept doing. And so when I met my, you know, now late ex-wife, when I met her, we were just dating. I mean, we probably were on our 3rd date. And the next thing I know, it was like, let's move in together. And she, you know, brought that to me. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm so head over heels, you know, I'm like in love. We're in this zone. And we're kind of going, oh, fucking, yeah, let's do it. No, well, what about this? Or what about that? Well, we just rushed right into it. And I'm sorry, but when you're 23, 24, you still have the whole world ahead of you as far as career paths, as far as your education and all that. And it's like, to each its own. But the way that we were brought up, it was no. You know, take your time, go about it the right way. 23, 24 back then moved way too fucking fast. And we paid for it. Shit, I still remember when the question was asked. I didn't even pop the question. She went with her family down to Honolulu, and she came back, and she's like, so, you know, I had a really great time, but I really wish you would have been there. And, you know, made me think a few things, put a couple of things in perspective. I have a question for you. Yeah, okay, what's up? Will you marry me? And she gets down on one knee and gives me this really cool ring, and I'm like, you sure about this? And she's like, yeah, why not? But, you know, looking back in hindsight, and hopefully I don't get emotional talking about this, but, you know, looking back in hindsight, I wouldn't be surprised if my late ex-wife did that because she knew she didn't have that much time left on Earth. Because I'll never, you know, she suffered from spinal bifida. It was a severe case of spinal bifida. And I remember at one point I had said to her, I said, hey, you know, given, you know, your condition with the spinal bifida and all that, you know, are you really okay? You know, are you going to be around for the next 20, 30 years? And she said, if I have to be honest, I said, yeah. She said, well, if I have to be honest, no, I'm sadly not going to be around in the next 20 to 30 years. I'm like, well, how many more years do you think you might have? She said, if I'm lucky, maybe 10 to 15, if I'm lucky. And I remember I started busting up fucking crying. And she was like, well, it's okay. It's okay. You know, don't, you know, we'll just, you know, we'll make the best out of it. Hey, I might be wrong for all you know. And I tell you what, from that time that she laid that down on me, that news on me, to when we stopped talking, to when she passed, boy, did she call her lifespan, did she call it right? Did she fucking call it right? So, you know, not to get all Debbie Downer and everything, but you know, when she passed, not when she passed, but you know, when things had ended between me and her, I kind of, I don't really know if I want to, because the way that marriage was, it was like, ugh, you know, but it's like, okay, take your time. And I took my time with the future Mrs. Sanders. I mean, I invested a couple of years in the future Mrs. Sanders, and it got to the point where the question was asked, so when you pop in the question? And it's like, in due time, in due time, you know, we're still getting to know each other. It's like, well, damn, y'all been together how many years now? And I felt such great relief when I finally, and there's no better feeling in the world when you've bust your ass, you've worked your jobs, you've hustled, you've saved up the money to get the engagement ring, and you pick the perfect moment. You pick Christmas to drop on one knee and pose the question. And it's like, so what do you say? You know? And now you just gotta be worried about preparing for a wedding and all that, you know? So I can only imagine the emotional roller coaster that Ric Flair has been on with these marriages, you know? And no, don't say I'm a good dude, because I'm not a good dude. I'm not a good dude. There are so many mistakes that I continue to make, and there's no such thing as good. You know, we can always make room for improvement as human beings. You know, there's no such thing as good. There's always error somewhere. You know, the important thing is that, you know, you have some people that can genuinely admit when they fucked up and they want to do better. And then you have people that just, it's everybody else's fault but mine. But there's really no such thing as a good person. Well, with the exception of Mr. Rogers, I think maybe he was honestly a really damn good person all the way around. And I wish we had more guys like him. I really do. Watch that documentary. Some really good shit, man. We recommend you guys check it out. Let's get into a couple of more topics here. And what am I, fucking the Dos Sakes dude? Do I have any pointers for someone that has not found someone yet? Yes, I do. Be patient. And if push comes to shove, I would say the best thing you can do is go on a dating site, because it's so hard to really meet people, good, sane people in public these days. So I would say if you're comfortable doing the whole internet thing and really working up your courage and really learning people a lot more, I would say, you know, go on a site like eHarmony, go on Match.com, and, you know, don't do the free shit. Get yourself a fucking little premium account for like $20 a month. Do that for like about 3-4 months. Don't rush it, but do it for like about 3-4 months. Try to see if you can find other paying members. And honestly, for me, I always say that's a good sign. You know, if you're a paying member and you come across another paying member, that should demonstrate the level of seriousness and commitment that one is in trying to find somebody, right? But I would just say, take your time And I think if anything, don't rush. If there's one thing I learned is no matter how much you want somebody, don't rush, because you may live to regret some things. You know, you may say to yourself, damn, I rushed way too fast. I wanted somebody just to be having somebody, but now that I've been with this person for a while, God, it feels like so wrong. I shouldn't be with this person. And now you're stuck with them. And you got to make the best of the situation. You know, luckily for me, knock on wood, I didn't have a kid with my late ex-wife. You know, otherwise that would have made things extremely, extremely cumbersome in so many ways. I mean, imagine, you know, she still passes and now I have to deal with the in-laws because they want to see their kid. And I mean, that would, woo, you know, so, you know, but yeah, I would just say take your time and, you know, don't rush it, man. Please don't rush it. It'll come to you. It'll come to you. You just got to be patient, and that's it. That's it. Or push come to shove, I mean, they got these great bomb ass sex dolls that apparently they got personalities now. I bullshit you not. I mean, they look like real women. Cost you a couple of grand. You can give them a sassy personality. You can give them a shy personality, and you can give them a jealous personality. And I hear the vaginas feel just like the real deal, man. To quote one of my favorite lines from The Devil's Rejects, you mean I can just cut the head off of that chicken, stick my dick in it, and I'm gonna go, ah. Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, some people are good with a life like that. So to each its own, man. To each its own. Let's see, a couple more topics I want to get into on the show tonight. Let's see, we talked about that. NWA 70, National Wrestling Alliance 70. It's going to be coming October 21st. There are tickets that are still available. We don't know the entire card just yet. Hopefully there's going to be some more matches that's going to be announced. But the National Wrestling Alliance, they're going to be hosting a 70th anniversary show. And they're promising that it's going to honor the fighting spirit and Big Bout feel worthy of the NWA name. And right now, all we know is that this event will be produced in association with Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Entertainment. It's going to be streaming live on Fight TV. I'm actually going to be checking that event out. I definitely am. Of course, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship is going to be defended by the current champion, which is Cody Rhodes. He's going to be facing Nick Aldis. It's going to be the rematch. We don't know any more matches that's going to be coming up, but I tell you what, there is still tickets available for this event. I don't see that many seats available, though. It looks like they're going to come pretty close to selling out if I'm reading the information right. Now, for those of you that may be a little bit curious where this event is going to be held, this event is actually going to be held in at the Asylum, the Nashville Fairgrounds Sports Arena, the Asylum. It's going to be on October 21st from 6:05 p.m. until 10 p.m. Tickets pretty affordable. I mean, general admission right now $19.48, and there's a little map that you can actually see, a little legend map, and you can see the seats that are remaining. Highest I've seen so far is probably like about $70, and I think that's about as good as you're going to be able to get if you're trying to get as close to ringside as humanly possible. So you guys have at it. I will actually be checking out that event, and I'll actually do an after show on that. So stay tuned for that. Also, I want to give my first impressions of Joaquin Phoenix. I love him. He's a great veteran actor. He has shared some first images of him portraying the Joker in a origin story that is supposed to be dropping sometime this year. It's being produced by Martin Scorsese, and it looks really fucking good. He's got nice long hair. There's no makeup or anything like that. It's really a origin story. And looks like he's a washed up comedian and all that. And when you look at Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker, I mean, you just pick up this impression, and a lot of people that have gotten a hold of some early advanced footage or whatever, they're saying basically it reminds you a lot of Taxi with Robert De Niro, the way that they kind of got it set up or whatever. Apparently the plot, not much of the plot is known right now, but the generalized stuff that I'm hearing right now and been reading up on is that it takes place in Gotham City during the 80s. So this is definitely before Bruce Wayne, you know, becomes the Batman and all that. His parents are still around and everything. Remember Alec Baldwin, he was attached to this project, but he backed out. So a little bit curious who they got, you know, in his place. But they're saying it's supposed to drop sometime this year, which I find kind of amazing if they are going to be dropping it this year, because to me it just kind of seems like that's kind of rushing it. You guys sure you don't want to maybe milk this and let it come out first quarter of next year? Like, I see a ETA date of I want to say it was November, if I read it right. Actually, let me see. I'm gonna pull it up on Google real quick for you guys, and I'll just say Joker movie, and I should be able to see the date. Yeah, I'm seeing a release date is October 4th, 2019. I hope that's wrong. I really do. I hope it gets pushed back, you know, a little further. But the latest piece of news looks like they're casting Brett Cullen as Thomas Wayne. This is according to the Hollywood Reporter. And remember, Alec Baldwin dropped out last month, so Bruce Wayne is getting a new dad, as Brett Cullen is going to be stepping into the role. And let's see, Cullen, he does have experience in the comic book films. For those of you that are trying to put the picture to that name, he's appeared in 2007's Ghost Rider, 2012's The Dark Knight Rises. On the small screen, he had roles on Person of Interest and Queen of the South, also Narcos. So the Joker film, it's happening right now. So I mean, if they're saying it's going to drop in October, can't wait to see what they're going to be able to do with that. But I know Jared Leto is doing his thing as the Joker, and you know, he's like locked in for like 3 other films or whatever. But after seeing Phoenix and his portrayal of the Joker, you know, it's so eerie, and it just kind of has this Heath Ledger vibe to it. I hope that maybe DC executives will reconsider maybe casting Phoenix as the official Joker, and you know, but will he want to do something like that? I mean, Phoenix has been notorious for just doing wide range characters, and usually he just does like a one-shot type of deal or whatever. But you know, he kind of reminds me a lot like Robert Mitchum. You know, Robert Mitchum, for vast majority of his career, was always doing serious roles, right? And then another actor that I think about is Gregory Peck, to a certain degree. Gregory Peck, you know, he had his moments where, you know, once in a blue moon, he would give you something that was semi-funny, like maybe for just a particular scene. But Gregory Peck was just, if you know your actors, he was just To Kill a Mockingbird, the original. He was notorious for always playing serious roles. It's like, damn, does this dude like ever have a light side to him? Does he ever laugh? You know, he smiles once in a while, but does he ever like really laugh in his movies? You know, and Phoenix just kind of has a reputation like of those two. So, but I don't know, maybe if the money is right, maybe they can get a hold of him. But I'm already impressed so far, so we'll see what happens with that. We are talking movies still and TV shows. Did you guys see the new Lois Lane that's been casted? I mean, she looks literally like Margot Kidder. I mean, almost like a younger sister or something like that. Apparently, this actress, she's going to be popping up in the Arrow, I guess, Supergirl crossover event that's supposed to be happening. I don't know if maybe this is supposed to be happening for November sweeps or what, but I want to show her some love. Her name is Bristy Tullich, and she's best known as Juliet Silverton / Eve in the NBC series Grimm. When you look up the image of her, and you see the still shots of her as Lois Lane coming up, you're going, holy shit. I mean, she looks pretty good. I've never watched Arrow. I've watched The Flash before, and I thought The Flash was actually pretty good. So I'm actually going to see how they do this. I know Superman's kind of running around here and there, so I'm actually going to check that out and see how that pans out. See, what else here? Other than that, one other thing I wanted to get into, Vonte Davis abruptly retiring from the Buffalo Bills and the NFL. Look, man, I love my football. I really do. As long as I have been watching football, I've never seen or heard of anything like this. So for those of you that maybe don't follow football right now, whatever the respected reason is, whether it's because you don't like how they're handling domestic abuse towards women, the victims, and how these players, whatever, not whatever, like I'm dismissing it, but I feel where you're coming from if you're not watching NFL this season for reasons like that, or the whole Nike or Kaepernick, whatever the case may be. So I'm just getting you guys caught up to speed. So Vonte Davis, he basically had decided, like, keep in mind that the Bills were hurting as it is. And one of the guys that was supposed to play wasn't able to play. So Davis, okay, next man up, you got to go out there. And like, he's out there, okay, this is what he's been training for, but he gets beat. I mean, he gets blazed big time. He didn't get injured or anything like that. It was just a situation where one could kind of say, you probably got hurt a little bit, huh? And the Bills would go on to lose, but he decided at halftime he was going to go on ahead and quit. So when he went up to the coaching staff and all that, it was like, hey, I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. And they're like, are you injured? What's going on? What's wrong with you? And he pretty much told them, no, I'm done. I just really had an epiphany, and I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to retire. I'm done. So he released a statement shortly afterwards saying, hey, in a nutshell, this is what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting to retire like this. I thought I was going to go out on a big, bright stage. And, he tried to justify where he was in his train of thinking, talking about how, he really wants to put himself in a position where he can play with his kids. And I get all that. I'm summarizing here, but I get all that. And I heard what his brother had to say and everything. And I really didn't have an opportunity to listen to all the sportscasters on ESPN and all that to hear what they had to say. I just really wanted to just come on here and just give you guys my raw emotions on that. Now, look, I can relate to this not from a sports athletic standpoint, but I can relate to what this guy must have been going through from just okay, you're going to work standpoint. And, in a nutshell, I know I've told you guys the story about that last security company I had worked with. I'm not going to bore you guys with that whole story again. But, I could remember feeling undervalued, unappreciated, not getting my just due, but saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to continue to do this because there's actually some good people that I'm working with that cares about the fine detail and doing their job just as much as I care about doing my job. And when you got people that care, that makes for a really good shift. Not to mention it makes time fly by so damn easy, right? Especially when you have a rapport with them. But there was so much bullshit that was attached. I'm summarizing here. There was so much bullshit that was attached to it that it seemed as though the only way you could move up in this company or get the breaks, if you will, as they call them, you had to have weed or cocaine or LSD and be hooking certain people up, particularly those in higher up management. It seemed like that's the way you get some things done if you're trying to advance your career. And I just wasn't really having that shit, you know. And I'll never forget, kind of like what Davis went through there. You know, I remember there was one shift I worked where I just like legitimately said, you know what, I don't need this shit. Like I'm already killing myself as it is. I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing my side job, and I'm working my full-time day job. Like, I don't need this shit. And I was ready to just pull a Davis. You know, I was ready to pull a Vonte Davis and just say, I'm done. Like, in the middle of the shift, like, I'm done. But I said, no, that's very unprofessional. You don't need that. Go out the right way. You know, put in your 2 weeks notice. You know, don't do them like that. And I remember when I finally had, like, went up to here with the bullshit. I finished out the shift. And I said to myself, okay, you know what? I feel myself. I'm being very upset right now. I'm being a dick right now. What's up, Alicia? Alicia, the cutie. I ain't seen you in a while. How you been? You know, it's like, what the fuck? You know, I'm feeling like unappreciated, undervalued as it is. And I'm kind of going, okay, you know what? My shift is over now. All I got to do is just go home. It was my day off. I didn't have to work either job. I didn't have to do a show that night. And it was like, just go home, sleep, relax. And the next thing you know, like, as I'm getting ready to leave work, I just got hit with, like, all of this negative bullshit. And I just said, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Now, I didn't say that to them. I waited until I got home. I picked up the phone, I called the boss, and, you know, I said, look, this is what's up. Appreciate the opportunity, but you know what? I like what's going on with my life currently as it is, and, you know, I did what I did with you guys just to pick up a little bit of extra money during the holidays. Holidays is now over, so I'm good, and honestly, you know, it's just not for me. But I appreciate, you know, you guys giving me the opportunity. Wishing you guys nothing but the very best. My point, there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And what I don't understand is they pulled Davis out of the game after that one time that he went in there and it resulted into a touchdown for the other team and all that. All he had to do was just sit down during the second half. Get your money. But instead, he just decides, okay, no, I'm gone. He could have just been sitting on the bench for the entire second half, just collecting money, talking shit with the rest of the teammates. But if you want to talk about the greatest act of, wow, that's just selfish. What he did this past weekend was very, very selfish. I'm all down for, hey, man, I want to put myself in a position where I can play with my kids and I want to be able to hold my wife's hand and, you know, I'm not waking up with aches and pain. I get all that. I respect all that. But there's a right way and a wrong way of doing things. And no doubt, no shit, if you're the Bills owner and all that, you're going to be like, give me back my money. You going to give me back my money because you didn't deliver the goods. No. That loophole that you took, you could be retiring and all that all you want, but you messed up. Give me back my money. So, and you know that's going to happen. So, but I just think, I got to pose that question to you guys. In all the years that some of you all been watching football, have you ever heard of some crazy shit like that? I mean, really, crazy, just crazy. So, other than that, that's pretty much it. Yes, I cannot believe it either, De Rosa. Seeing a comment in the chat there. Mixed Match Challenge was apparently great. So the episode is now available to check out on demand. I'll actually check that out in a little bit. We're going to go ahead. We're going to stick a fork in it. Yes, Tony. He retired at halftime. Not after the game, at a conference. Not, you know... Not before the game. He does like one drive. You know, he does like, he plays for like, you know, I don't know how many plays, but he was involved in the first half and like, okay, it's halftime. Go on, let's go back in the locker room and regroup. And he just decides, I'm going to retire. It's like, who the fuck does that shit, right? I mean, you seriously have got to give two fucks not and are willing to burn your bridges big time to do some shit like that. I hope he budgeted his money wisely. He seems like a very smart man. You know, he seems like a very smart man. He seems like maybe he's budgeted his money. But, you know, if you're going to do something like that, damn, you guys are cruel, man. I got Lee Strack in the chat saying it could be the CTE talking. I got Mark saying, hate to pull a Jericho, but he's a stupid idiot. It is. It really is. There's just a right way and a wrong way to do things. I mean, why put yourself in that position where now the owners and crew are going to come back and they're going to get their money back? They're going to get their money back because that's a breach of the contract, right? And I think he was projected to bring in, like, just for this season playing with the Bills, I think it was projected he was supposed to rack in a total of like 5.5 million. And I forget how much the guarantee was, but then there was also like some stipend where, like, for every game he played, there was going to be like an additional $50,000 or something like that. So, I mean, the way they structured it was really, really good. And I want to say with regards to guaranteed money, I want to say like maybe 1.5, 1.8 guaranteed he was supposed to be getting. You know, so it's like, yeah. And he made the Pro Bowl. He made the Pro Bowl back in 2015. And that's pretty much what put him in a position where, okay, it's time for you to get paid. Because look what you did. You made it to the Pro Bowl. You know, yeah, he made the list all right. All right, so for you Patreon guys, I'll come at you guys with some Mae Young Classic talk. By the way, 205 Live, it's moving. It's now moving to Wednesday. So Wednesdays, you know, it's technically like maybe 2 hours and a half of WWE programming. So now you're going to have 205 Live to kick things off. Then you're going to have the NXT, and then everything ends with the Mae Young Classic. WWE, by the way, they're going to be coming at you guys with a boatload of pay-per-views in the next coming weeks. So, I mean, take your pick, man. October 6th, we've got the WWE Super Show down in Australia. Then a couple of weeks later, on October 28th, we're going to have the Evolution pay-per-view. That's going to be in the United States, in New York. And then just a couple of days after that, in Saudi Arabia on November 2nd, we're going to have the Crown Jewel pay-per-view event. And then come on back to the United States, because then November the 18th, we're going to have Survivor Series. The night before, it's going to be NXT TakeOver. So, I mean, my God, if you are a WWE fan, just the amount of content that's coming your way in the next couple of weeks. I mean, you know, a lot of those is going to be a pass and not a fail. It's a good time, but man, these are some trying times for that roster right now. Really, really is. I'm going to do a YouTube exclusive later this week. I'll have some intimate thoughts to share with regards to Matt Hardy. And it only serves right. I did have an opportunity to have a conversation with him a couple of years ago, and honestly, he's always been somebody that I've been a big fan of. And if there was maybe one person you might have told me that, hey, you would have told me in my 20s that, you know, hey, at this age you're gonna talk to Matt Hardy, I'd be like, bullshit. And it was awesome chatting with him a couple of years back. But I definitely want to talk about how it appears as though his in-ring career is pretty much coming to an end and all that. We'll talk about that exclusively on YouTube for you guys. You know, nice to give you guys some bonus content, you know, keep you guys checking out the channel, refreshing and all that good stuff. But Patreon members, you guys will get the Mae Young Classic stuff and some other goodies that I'm going to be working on. Sign up, patreon.com/RCWR Show, starting at $5 a month. Get yourself access to some really cool exclusive... Try saying that 10 times fast. Exclusive. Really cool exclusive bonus content. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to Mark. Mark, it's possible. He's asking a question about Rusev. I think, honestly, Mark, in a nutshell, I'll tell you what, Mark, because that's actually a good question. I don't want to just rush that question just to get off the air. I'll actually forward that question to a YouTube exclusive. So if you guys have a couple of more like wrestling, non-wrestling related questions you want me to tackle, I think we'll do like a little mini Q&A, and I'll knock out a couple and like maybe a 10-minute video or something like that. Because Mark actually is bringing up a really good question about Rusev. So we'll get to that on YouTube. I'll probably put a little something together for you guys on Thursday. Give myself enough time to rest up and everything. Shout out to Dave Rosa. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Tony. Alicia. Hey, Foxy Mama. Beyonce's Mega Man. Shout out to... who else? I know I'm missing. I saw Austin earlier. Shout out to Lee Strack. Who else we got? Who else am I missing here? Noah. What's up, Noah? Hope you been okay, buddy. Who else am I missing here? Shout out to our Patreon members. Shout out to Akono. Akono? That's how I'm gonna pronounce it, brother. Akono. And special shout out to those of you that's going to be checking out the show on demand. Do appreciate that love and support as always. Looks like for the most part we had a really good stream. Looks like there wasn't any lag or whatever, so that's fantastic. Smash the like button, subscribe, all that good jazz. Those of you waiting on the audio, give me about 20 minutes and I should have this ready for you guys, okay? Much love, be safe, be kind to one another, and I will see you all next go round. Please, you all do take care, and may the good news be yours.